New this morning, the average American is sleeping more times this year than working than they did a year ago, actually. An annual Labor Department survey shows Americans slept an average of 8 hours and 50 minutes a day last year. That's a 13-minute increase compared to a decade ago. While Americans overall also spend a little less time working or commuting to work, meanwhile, people with full-time jobs spent 5 more minutes at work per day. Well, in your highlight on health this morning, many children will have to face the sting of a flu shot this fall. A new Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee says nasal spray vaccines should not be used this coming flu season. That's after new data indicates the nasal flu mist is not as effective as those shots. Well, it's no secret that pet owners, right? We love our pets, and sometimes we'll do anything for them, sometimes the unthinkable. Well, one woman in Missouri happened to give her one-eyed pet goldfish an extreme makeover. Listen to this story. Jasmine Huda tells us more.
The yellowfish is a foxface. His name's Foxy. The blueface angelfish up here, his name's Angel.
Julie Morgan has an affinity for fish. One in particular, lime green, just like the fruit.
Kiwi. Kiwi is, he's something. He's actually been my favorite fish.
But recently, Kiwi has been a fish out of water, getting picked on by his tank mates for being half blind.
Getting bullied. They figured out which eye was not working. They'd go up behind him, bite his tail. He had chunks of his tail taken out.
It was so bad, Kiwi was quarantined. For a time, the troubled waters seemed to be rising. The vet removed a cataract and eventually the eye itself, leaving Kiwi with an open socket and Julie Morgan with an open wound herself.
I was afraid to put him back in the tank. I knew they would harass him.
Enter the extreme makeover at this Chesterfield clinic.
Exotic veterinarians tend to be kind of MacGyvers.
Kiwi's veterinarian, Dr. Megan Babler, went MacGyver all the way, coming up with the idea for an acrylic 9mm prosthetic eye.
I actually hand painted the eye myself. I used a mixture of some nail polish and some eyeshadow pigments actually to give it iridescence.
Not the real deal, but it certainly looked like it. Then came the surgery.
How do you perform anesthesia on a fish?
Very carefully. The syringe, we pulled up water that has anesthesia in it, and it's running through this tube into the mouth and washing over the gills.
Kiwi is back in his holding tank. He'll soon return to his tank mates, his eye in disguise, and hopefully in a happier, healthier underwater environment.
It's going to be the best chance for him to be able to lead a normal life in his tank.
A lot of people probably would say, yes, put him down. Go ahead, it's just a fish. Well, my opinion is nothing is just a something. And if I could give him quality of life, why not? If they thought I was a crazy fish lady for doing all this for one fish, that's okay. I accept, I accept everyone's opinion. It's an unusual story, but what a story.
Yeah, what a story that was. Well, Dr. Babler donated a lot of her time to make this surgery possible, so it came at a very reduced cost, but it can normally be hundreds of dollars. This is the second surgery of its kind performed on a privately owned fish.
Good morning, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, and all of Central Alabama. You're watching the CBS42 Morning News.
Good morning, everyone. We're rounding out your weekend here on CBS42 Morning News. Thanks for waking up with us, hopefully with a cup of coffee in hand, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are going to need iced coffee because it's hot.
It is hot. It's humid, and it's another weather-aware day, meaning that the weather's going to be inconvenient at times, lightning, thunder, and the heat. So let's dive into the forecast, a live look at the Magic City. There's some patchy fog in the valleys because we picked up some locally heavy rain in spots yesterday. Birmingham Shuttleworth International Airport got up to 97 degrees. Right now it's 75. The wind is calm, and we do have some patchy fog in the valleys. You can see it if you look real hard with me. It feels like 75, but the feels like temperature will be soaring once again this afternoon. The storms are going to pop with the heating of the day, and some of those storms could be on the strong side. And there's a heat advisory in place for some of you. We're going to get to that in a second. First, I want to show you temperatures right now. Some new data just came in. Jasper, good morning to you. 75 degrees right now. 73 in Coleman and Gadsden. 74 Pell City. 74 in Clanton. 74 in Tuscaloosa. Here's a look at the heat advisory. The county's in orange, technically in a heat advisory, and that will kick off at 12 o'clock this afternoon and goes through 9 o'clock tonight. But all of us need to be aware that the heat and the humidity, when you combine the two, are dangerous, so stay hydrated. Here's a look at the temperature trend. The actual air temperature going to get up to 95 by noon. I'll have more on the heat, humidity, and a closer look at the storm chance later in just a few minutes. Alex?
Thank you, Michael. Happening today, it's the one-year anniversary of a landmark decision by the U.S. Supreme Court. On June 26, 2015, the court legalized same-sex marriage across the country. And since then, thousands of couples have swapped vows, but opponents say it's fueling their plans to overturn the decision. Weijia Zhang reports from Washington.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Jim Obergefell feels overwhelmed standing on the steps of the Supreme Court.
I think about the last time I was really here when this plaza was filled with thousands of people and this incredible sense of joy.
1 year ago, Obergefell was the plaintiff in a landmark Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage.
For me, it takes it all back to the reason John and I started this fight, to live up to our promises, and I owed it to him to see this through to the end.
His husband, John Arthur, died of ALS in 2013, 3 months after their wedding, which was not recognized by their home state of Ohio. Arthur's death certificate listed him as single until the Supreme Court ruling.
Love does win.
A Gallup poll out this week estimates that 123,000 same-sex couples were married in the year since it became law. Today, nearly half of same-sex couples who are living together are married. That's up from 38% a year ago.
But not everyone is celebrating. Several groups are working to overturn the ruling, calling the 5-4 decision unconstitutional.
The decision, I believe, will be overturned.
Brian Brown is president of the National Organization for Marriage.
The United States Supreme Court did not have any jurisdiction or right to redefine the nature of marriage and to steal from the people their right to vote on such questions.
A weekend march in Washington is only part of the group's strategy to protest the ruling, but Obergefell says he's confident it will stand. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Washington.
Both Obergefell and Brown say they expect the next big legal battle will grow out of the current debate over transgender rights. Well, here in Alabama, state leaders are also reflecting on the one-year anniversary of SCOTUS's ruling on same-sex marriage. We know
hundreds of same-sex couples have been able to get married and get benefits. And it's a wonderful thing. Now it's a lot more normalized to people. Population and support has grown even more in the last year. So I think it was an important victory, but we still have to work to end discrimination.
we also talked to Representative Todd about her plans to run for Alabama's new Speaker of the House. She was at the Forward Alabama conference Saturday morning. Todd says voters need an alternative and someone who, of course, can rebuild trust. And speaking of that, the former Speaker of the House, Mike Hubbard, lost his position in the House after being convicted on state ethics charges earlier this month. He is scheduled to be sentenced on July 8th. Well, coming up, a permanent memorial will stand for the 49 people killed in a mass shooting at an Orlando gay club. City officials say a committee will gather input on the memorial from victims' families and the community. A location and date for the memorial dedication has not yet been set. New this morning, at least 3 news organizations say they were banned from Donald Trump's events in Scotland Saturday. The GOP candidate was at his golf course in Aberdeen. Washington Post, BuzzFeed, and British newspaper Guardian tweeted that they were kept out of the event while other organizations covered the visit. Trump spoke to reporters about the Brexit decision and more while at the golf course, including his search for a running mate.
It's coming when I'm good. I have a lot of people that want it. I will tell you one thing, I'm getting close to a lot of people, and they want it. Is it still going to be the only people that say they don't want it are the people that would never ask. You know, I've read every once in a while, I see somebody said they don't want it, they weren't asked. But we have a lot of people that want it. that slot.
Presumptive GOP nominee also met with media mogul Rupert Murdoch Saturday for dinner. The two have been publicly critical of each other in the last year, despite knowing each other for decades. Well, it comes after Trump praised the UK's decision to leave the EU, while one of Murdoch's papers urged voters to vote leave. Another told people to vote remain. Well, new this morning, conservative commentator and columnist George Will says he's leaving the Republican Party because of Donald Trump. A conservative media blog says he made the announcement on Friday, saying one of the things that pushed him over the edge was House Speaker Paul Ryan's endorsement of Trump. Will says the endorsement means Trump as president would have no opposition from Congress. Will says Republicans will be better off with Hillary Clinton as president, but did not say who he was voting for in November. And speaking of Clinton, she returns to the campaign trail today in Indianapolis. The presumptive Democratic nominee's campaign is praising a draft version of the party's 2016 platform. The document shows a $15 an hour minimum wage, raising taxes on multimillionaires and curbing what is called Wall Street greed. Well, your time right now is 6:36. West Virginia isn't the only state reeling after rain leaves behind major floods. Next, what people are having to do now in Virginia.
Good Sunday morning to you. Central Alabama, the sun is up. Temperatures right now, hey, not too bad. 75 in Birmingham. Later on this afternoon, the heat and the humidity, oh, it's going to feel oppressive. We're going to talk about that and the storm chance right after this.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Good Sunday morning to you, Central Alabama. Live look outside across the Magic City. We've got some valley fog, a mix of sun and clouds. Right now, 75 degrees. The wind is calm. Yesterday, Birmingham jumped up to 97. I want to thank one of our viewers, Reagan, for snapping and sending this picture. This morning, a beautiful sunrise. Hey, today is a weather aware day because of the heat, humidity, and the chance for some strong storms later on this afternoon. Temperatures right now on the thermometer, 73 in Gadsden, 75 Anniston, 75 Alex City along with Alabaster. Good morning to you, Tuscaloosa, 74. Later on this afternoon, the feels like temperature in Tuscaloosa easily up to 105, maybe 110. So the heat and humidity across all of central Alabama are something to be concerned about. The temperature trend, oh boy, does it climb. The actual air temperature forecast to be in the mid-90s by noon. You factor in the humidity, it'll feel like the triple digits, and as we get into the evening hours, a slow dip in degrees, if we can even use that phrase, into the upper 80s by around 6 o'clock this afternoon. And the storms are going to pop between 2 and 4, and some of those could be pretty strong if you're outdoors and you hear thunder. That means lightning is close enough to be dangerous and deadly, so take it inside. Next 7 days, a better chance of showers and storms. Monday and Tuesday, highs in the 90s, overnight low temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s. Okay, much of the focus on devastating flooding recently has been on West Virginia, but now efforts continue to help lower water levels at Summersville Lake in Virginia. Officials say they're letting out 15,000 cubic feet of water per second. That's a lot of water. And crews say while there was widespread, I should say, flooding, it could have been a lot worse. The water rose to 29 feet. And the crews say they'll continue to let that water out for the next 7 to 10 days.
Well, thankfully, the worst never came there. So
yeah.
Well, you and your family can enjoy some good food and help a local cause this weekend all at the same time. The Birmingham Summer Food Truck Rally will take place at Regents Field today. The rally gives you a chance to sample food from local food trucks and raise money for Pathways Foundation and the ALS Association. The food truck rally begins at 1 and lasts until 6 p.m. There will also be live music, fun activities for the kids, and for ticket information, of course, just head over to our website, WIAT.com. And speaking of what's happening today, there's also a new mobile app that will be celebrated. The Birmingham Food Trucks app is a guide to all food trucks in the area. So great. You can search for food trucks in real time, actually. So the app definitely comes in handy. Your time right now is 6:42. New developments in the U.S. response to Britain's historic Brexit vote. Still ahead, where Secretary of State John Kerry is headed next. We're going to let you know right after this short break here on the CBS 42 Morning News.
watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Welcome back. Breaking overnight, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry will travel to Brussels and London Monday to meet with top British and European Union diplomats following the UK Brexit vote. Now, Kerry is said to be bringing messages of support rather than suggestions on dealing with this potential economic crisis because of the decision. Kerry will meet with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Italian government officials tomorrow morning. He'll speak with the EU foreign policy chief after that meeting in Rome. New this morning, the cast of Hamilton is helping out Hillary Clinton next month. Clinton is hosting a special performance of the Broadway smash hit as part of a joint fundraiser between the campaign and the DNC. Tickets for the July 12th show range from $2,700 for general admission to $100,000, which includes 2 premium seats with Clinton and an invitation to the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. But a familiar face will be missing. The show's star and creator, Lin-Manuel Miranda, will not be part of the performance. He leaves the show on July 9th. Well, right now, a state of emergency is in place for California as more than 4,500 firefighters battle 6 massive wildfires. And the largest fire is still out of control in Central California. People who evacuated their homes returned to their neighborhoods for the first time Saturday. They found nothing was left. CBS News correspondent Daniel Nottingham reports from South Lake.
Debbie Madore spent Saturday desperately searching for her daughter's ashes in the rubble.
It feels like death. It feels like death. There's no other way to say it. I'm kind of numb.
Madore had to leave everything behind when fire quickly swept through Lake Isabella Thursday and spread to neighboring communities.
It happened so quick. We just couldn't get anything. We just had to run. I've never seen anything so fast in all my life.
The Erskine fire has burned more than 35,000 acres, leveling whole blocks and forcing thousands to evacuate. More than 1,000 firefighters are battling hot, dry conditions, high winds, and rugged terrain. At least 150 homes have been destroyed. Officials expect that number to grow as they assess damage here in the fire zone, and there are still hundreds of homes in the path of the blaze. Fred and Elaine Roach are some of the lucky ones so far. Their home survived.
It's all now black all around us where it just went on both sides of our house. And we're very fortunate that our house didn't burn.
This is the largest fire burning in California right now, and fire officials say there is zero containment. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, South Lake, California.
What a sight there. 3 firefighters suffered minor injuries while working to contain that fire. Well, Michael, you know, obviously it's a really scary situation for people there in California. Really sad. We're not dealing with that here, a little closer to home, but we are definitely dealing with hot temperatures.
Yeah, we don't have the dry issue at hand. We have the opposite, where it's warm, it's muggy, and afternoon storms are going to pop. Today's a weather aware day, just like yesterday. Live look outside. Good morning to you. Birmingham, some patchy fog in the valleys. 75 right now, being reported from Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport. The wind is calm, dew point 72, feels like 75, but the feels like temperature will be through the roof once again. So today, weather aware, meaning the heat, humidity, definitely a concern, and that will lead to afternoon storms, some of which could be on the strong side. So keep that in mind. If you're outside and you hear that thunder, that's your cue to get indoors. That means lightning's close enough to be dangerous and deadly. All right, 75, good morning to you. In Anniston, 73, Gadsden, 73, and Cullman, Hamilton, 74, Tuscaloosa, and Clanton. So the temperature right now, relatively comfortable, but later on this afternoon, when you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like 100 to 105 across west central Alabama. And really all of central Alabama needs to be aware that the heat and the humidity are of concern again today. Yesterday, by the way, it got up to 97 at Birmingham Shuttleworth International Airport. Our average high for this time of year is 89. So as we head through the afternoon, this is the forecast temperature, not the heat index. Add a good 5 to 8 degrees to these numbers. I think by noon we're going to be in the low to mid 90s, and then between 1 and 2 the storms pop. So some areas will see relatively rain-cooled air, not necessarily everyone in the mid-90s between 1 and 2. And when the storms pop, again, lightning, thunder, and windy conditions. Futurecast, as we check it out here, starting the clock at 8:30 this morning. Temperatures upper 70s, lower 80s, and then quickly soaring into the lower 90s. Stop the clock at 4:30 this afternoon. Pop-up showers and storms, gusty wind, lightning and thunder, and a better chance of seeing more widespread showers and storms as we get into Monday afternoon. And here's a look at it on our Futurecast clouds and radar. Carry the forecast around anytime, anywhere with our weather app. It'll alert you to lightning in the area, hour-by-hour forecast. You can also share your weather photos with us. You can find this free in the App Store and or Google Play Store. Next 3 days, the heat continues to be turned on. High temperatures in the lower 90s. Again, a better chance of showers and storms Monday and Tuesday at 50%. And then that storm chance, it comes down just a little bit, but this is pretty typical for this time of year. Highs in the low 90s, overnight temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s. Don't forget, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. H2O is the way to go. You got it.
Well, your time right now is 6:51. A name change has people in Walker County pretty upset. Next, the reaction after the Board of Education approves a new plan. And watch out, these guys are really fast. Look at them go. We're heading to the winter dog races coming up in just a few minutes. We'll be right back after the break.
You're watching the CBS 42 Morning News.
Developing now, the decision is already made, but one group of Jasper residents hope their efforts can reverse a plan to rename the city's new high school. Some current students and parents say they're not giving up the fight to try and keep the name Walker High. This is all despite the Board of Education's recent vote to rename the school to Jasper High. They met yesterday to discuss their strategy.
One way that we think that we can change it is let the Board of Education know just exactly how many people are opposed to the name change. Outside of that, we plan to approach the Jasper City Council, approach this from a political standpoint.
Bobby Best says their fight continues on Monday. They plan to hold a press conference at 1 p.m. in front of Songer Gym. Right now, firefighters are facing intense heat thanks to Mother Nature, of course, as they battled the flames in a Birmingham house fire. Take a look at this video here. Crews were called to an abandoned house fire on 17th Street North Saturday. Now, we first brought you this story as breaking news on the CBS42 News at 6. No one was hurt in the fire, but with hot days in the forecast, like we've been seeing all weekend long, and firefighters in full gear, it's important that crews look out for one another.
We've got, crews properly hydrated. It's things we talk about all day long. We also have to monitor the crews on the scene to make sure that we don't overheat during this time.
The cause of the fire is under investigation. An emergency call for a car fire turns into a homicide investigation for Birmingham police. Around 8:30 Friday night, firefighters were called to the car fire on Smith Avenue. After the fire was out, they found a man's body lying on the ground next to the car. A witness told police that they heard a small explosion and saw smoke coming from the area. Investigators say the body was burned so badly that it was difficult to find out the cause of death. Police say if you have any information about what happened, please call Crime Stoppers. Their number is 254-7777. Well, police are also searching for 2 juveniles who may have been involved in a shooting on Friday night. Now, we first brought you the story as breaking news on Friday at 10 o'clock. Officers were called to 55th Street North and 1st Avenue North just before 9 p.m. A man was shot in the chest and taken to UAB Hospital. He was able to give police a statement about what happened and the possible suspects. So far, no arrests have been made. They're probably...
Good morning, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa.
Well, they're probably the first breed you think of when you think of hot dogs, right? And now you can see them. They are fast dogs. That's what I like to call them. Move over horses, because these pups you see here, they don't need horsepower. The Wiener Schnitzel Wiener Nationals 2016 took place Saturday at the San Diego County Fair. The field was narrowed down to 8 finalists in trial runs, and Presley became the winning wiener. Look at him. Her owner says she's a natural competitor. All she needs is steak and a blanket to keep her happy. Presley won the race, won the hearts of spectators. Oh, and a check for $500 as well. Pretty nice. Look at that, Michael.
Yeah, we had a family dog just like that. Her name was Bambi back in the day. Yep, she didn't win a race, but she sure did love to eat.
She didn't win a race, but she won your heart.
She sure did. All right, another weather-aware day. Hot and humid. Storms pop this afternoon. Temperatures skyrocket back into the upper 90s. It'll feel more like 100 to 105. So keep that in mind, and a better chance of showers and storms Monday into Tuesday. High temperatures stay in the 90s, overnight temperatures upper 60s, lower 70s.
All right, well, I guess stay hydrated, wear cool colors, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you back here tomorrow morning starting at 4:30 a.m. Take care.